Yo, what up? It's your boy Bowie here. And I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on the Mortal Kombat 1 pre-order beta. So, let me, okay. Uh-oh. Am I having technical difficulties here or what's happening? Hold on a second. I'm just trying to make sure everything's good over here. Oh, I had to hit the unpause button. But anyway, so yeah, I'll just give my thoughts. I'm gonna run through an exhaustive list of pros and cons, and then with said exhaustive list, I'll use that to give my overall opinion on the game. So anyway, I'm actually going to start with the cons because I don't have that many of them, truth be told. But the ones that I do have, I think they're quite important, not just because I think so, but because, for the release game that's coming out in September, if they remain undressed, they're going to become an issue. Okay, so let's start with the ones that is least likely to persist in the release version, and those are the glitches. So I didn't experience all of these glitches, but these are just the ones that I know of. Two of them I've, dealt with myself, and then others I've seen. So, one glitch that happens fairly regularly is when the computer does a breaker on your combo and you have them in the corner. Sometimes what will happen is when they perform a breaker, you wind up in the corner. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, under no circumstances should a breaker put you in danger just because the opponent decided they didn't want to be comboed by you anymore. Okay? I don't think that's fair, nor is it good. So that's going to need to be something that is addressed. And I think you'll see an example of that glitch in action in this video, but we'll see. The second glitch that I saw was the health bar glitch. So sometimes the health bar that gets drained when someone performs a combo doesn't match the damage output. Like, you'll see the bar be half and, 3/4 drained and stuff like that. Like, you'll see a whole bunch of your health bar just disappear. But then when you look at the damage is regular. Now, it seems to occur in specific circumstances. I'm not aware of what those circumstances are, but, it's definitely a glitch because most of the time the health bar and damage match up perfectly, but other times they don't. And so that's very, very important that gets addressed. Now, those two glitches are glitches that I experienced personally. This last one is something I saw in various streams. I saw it against Tweety versus Foxy Grandpa, and then it was also Honeybee. I forgot who he fought, and this glitch happened. And that is, sometimes you see how the characters are in the foreground and the cameos are in sort of the background of the screen, yeah, sometimes what happens is your character, the main character, instead of being in the foreground, they wind up in the background where the cameos are. So you have like two places where characters are at. So the foreground is where Katana and Johnny Cage are currently. And then when cameos run up on the screen, they're in the background. Sometimes what happens is your characters, the main characters, wind up being in the background, but they're still fighting characters in the foreground. And not only that, they're not in line. Like the hits don't line up and connect, but they still hit anyway. It's a very weird glitch, and it looks messed up. Like I said, I've seen this in 2 separate videos of tournament players going at it, and that needs to be addressed for real, because you already have a bunch of people out there that don't like cameos, don't want them to be in the game, don't think they're a good idea, and all that. And such a glitch only adds to that narrative, you know. But I'm going to talk about cameos momentarily. I do think that's all of those glitches will be addressed. They may already be out of the game by now because this is a beta. And so in the, release build, as far as we know, those glitches might be gone already. You know what I mean? So that was one con. So one con was the glitches. My second con, frame data. I understand the beta not having a practice room. I would have loved a practice mode, because I would have been in there straight labbing. You know what I'm saying? But I understand why they didn't want that there. They didn't want people to be practicing a bunch of stuff that could be gone by the time the game releases. And they didn't want the gap between complete newbies and seasoned folks to be even wider than it was. But if you're not going to have a practice mode, the very least you can have is accurate, full frame data available in the game. And sometimes, that didn't happen. So, for one, the Frost cameo has no frame data available whatsoever. All the other cameos had frame data that we could look at so that we can analyze, how good the moves are and stuff like that. Whether we're plus, we're minus, that kind of thing. We couldn't do that with Frost because the frame data wasn't there. So you've got that issue. Then also, the frame data can be misleading too. And they can be outright wrong for certain characters and situations. So an example of this would be Sub-Zero's dive kick. So officially, the frame data says that dive kick is minus 16 on block. And that's true. That seems to be true. But that's only true at a certain distance and at a certain height. I played a set against Wallace, and that's on YouTube right now. You know what I'm saying? And when I used Sub-Zero against him, I got to a point where I started just spamming the dive kick. Not really spamming, but you know what I'm saying? I would repeatedly use it all the time because every time he would go to try to punish it with a full combo, I was able to block. And he was punishing with jab combos. And we know jabs start up in 7 to 9 frames. And so the point is, somebody could be labbing against that dive kick They know it's minus 16, so they go to do their 7-frame jab to try to punish it. When someone does one on block, they don't get the punish. Not only do they not get the punish, Sub-Zero gets to ice clone them or make them whiff on punishing this move that they thought was unsafe. That ain't right, man. That ain't right at all. You know. So, in a situation like that, what they need to do is say that, officially the dive kick is minus 16, but, you know, maybe you have a little set of parentheses where you include the note that varies depending on distance and height. That's all. And when you do that, now people know that it varies. We won't really know how safe that particular move is until the full game releases and we get the in-game frame data that pops up in the practice mode. You know. Hi, babe. Speaking of frame data, this next issue I didn't even write down, but it's related to frame data and I just thought about it. Fatal blows. Actually, is even bigger than fatal blows. Punishing characters in this game when they're unsafe seems to be unnecessarily arduous. Most especially on, you know, fatal blows. When you block a fatal blow, which is way easier to do in this game and happens way more often, them joints have mad pushback. Absurd pushback. In addition to having pushback, they also have a lot of block stun. So it's not like you can immediately stop blocking and then immediately do your string as fast as you can. Nah, there seems to be like a delay of some kind. And I found that the best thing to do was just do a reversal special. But we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to stop blocking, do a string, and get that punish every single time, because we know that these fatal blows are negative double digits, at least negative 20 on block, if not higher. You know what I'm saying? Like negative 25, negative 30, them kind of numbers. And so if you have that going on, we need to be able to punish them consistently. Now, for all I know, as far as the fatal blows are concerned, we may already be able to punish them consistently, but because we didn't have a practice mode, you know, we couldn't practice punishing the fatal blows and stuff. But it does seem extraneous in trying to punish unsafe moves. You know, I can't tell you how many times as Johnny Cage I would try to punish something unsafe with forward 3-4. My forward 3 input would get eaten up, and then I would just get forward 4, which is his slow overhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that is disheartening. Okay, so I definitely want that to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. It was addressed in Mortal Kombat X. It was addressed in Mortal Kombat 11. And so it seems it needs to be addressed again in Mortal Kombat 1. You know. So those are my next two cons. Frame data and, you know, punishing unsafe moves. My very last con has to do with the cameos. Now, as I alluded to earlier, some people think the whole cameo system is a con. They don't like them. They don't think they should be in the game. Y'all bugging. Cameos are what make this game Mortal Kombat 1 and not MK11 2.0. And even if the cameos weren't here, this game is still not MK11 2.0. It's actually MK9 2.0 on the real. And cameos, not only are they not going anywhere, cameos are absolutely phenomenal, and I'll talk about that later. But there is one problem with them. There seems to be a disparity amongst the cameos. Not the natural disparity that comes with characters having different moves that have different utilities and stuff like that, but I'm talking about a disparity as to how effective the cameos are. So I'll talk about two in particular, Frost and Jax. So Frost is a cameo that has all summon moves. Now, for those of you that are uninitiated, the cameos have two categories of moves. One is known as an ambush, where you can perform the move, and as you perform the cameo move, your character can still move. So you could do a special, like a rising star or something like that with Johnny Cage, and then you can call your cameo out as you're doing it so that you get a follow-up. So Sonya's Square Wave is the perfect example of an ambush cameo. You about to see it now. See that? That's an ambush cameo. The other type of cameo is known as a summon. A summon cameo is a cameo that when you perform it, your character takes a pose and remains still and cannot move while the cameo is performing its special. It can move after, though. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands. Summons, you can't move. Ambushes, you can move. Okay? Now, about Frost. Frost has all summon cameos. That means that while she performs these cameos, your character cannot move. Now, by design, it would seem as though summons are going to be naturally weaker because you have to stop what you're doing in order to perform this move, whereas with the ambush, you can do whatever, right? But Frost is one of the very best cameos in the beta. Possibly the best cameo in the beta. Now, a lot of that has to do with the actual moves themselves, but the moves wouldn't be any good if they didn't act swiftly. So the really good thing about Frost is that when you perform her cameos, for the most part, they act instantly. For instance, forward cameo is her ground freeze. As soon as you press those two buttons together, she pops up on the screen and she's throwing a beam of ice immediately. You know what I'm saying? And obviously it's something you have to react to and all that. But this means that it's very easy to perform in combos. It's not difficult to time at all because you already know when it's going to come out. You know that as soon as you press that button, she's going to pop out and freeze somebody. There's no questions, no ambiguity, no nothing, right? Now let's compare that to Jax. Jax, you know, he has quite a few good special moves, one of which being his unblockable ground pound, which leads to insane setups. But anyway, he has two ambush cameos. Well, they're really the same move, but different ranges. He has the gotcha grab, which is an anti-air grab that allows you to continue to pop up for a combo, right? Now, this move leads to a lot of crazy setups in the corner and all that kind of stuff. So the move's powerful. It's strong. I'm not trying to say that the move is weak. But the problem with it is it's very tricky to use because it doesn't come out as instantly as Frost's cameos does. You know, when Frost does her ground freeze, you know that as soon as you press it, it comes out and she's freezing somebody. That's not the case with Jax and his gotcha grab. When you input gotcha grab, first and foremost, he has to run out and then do this slow ass leap and grab, which makes it very likely that you'll whiff it in combos and in the neutral. There's a serious delay with him for whatever reason. And it's not just Jax. Sonya's leg grab move is the same thing. There's a serious delay where, you know, you press it and you got to wait for her to come out, wait for her to get into the slow ass leg grab and all that. It doesn't happen instantly. Now, perhaps this is a deliberate design decision, but I question the wisdom of it, because why would you make your cameo move harder to perform, especially one that already has limited functionality such as gotcha grab? Because as I mentioned, gotcha grab is an anti-air move. It doesn't work on grounded opponents at all. You know what I'm saying? Also, the range on it is fairly limited. At best, you can grab somebody from around sweep distance. At best, maybe. And so, if that's the case, I see no reason why this move needs to be so deliberate. You know what I'm saying? So, my suggestion is speed it up dramatically. Make it come out immediately. And frankly, you know, I discussed this with Wallace, and we came up with the idea of, I think it was him that said it should just track. And he's right, it should just track. Now, I wanted to still have the same range, you know, so it should track the opponent anywhere from, you know, up close to around sweep distance. So wherever the opponent is, he should just grab you from there and do the move. You know what I'm saying? Instead of us having to direct the grab and trying to decide whether we should use the close one or the far one and all that kind of junk. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it be one input and it goes to several different ranges depending on where the opponent is. You know? This way, you know, the other input that used to be the other gotcha grab can be used for an entirely different move. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that Sonya's leg grab needs similar treatment. It just needs to, as soon as you press it, she need to be out grabbing a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like it's very deliberate, you know? But, yeah, those are my only cons of this game. But since I was talking about cameos, I might as well talk about why cameos are the very best thing that Mortal Kombat has ever added to it in the NRS era. So, for those of you that do not know, you know, this game is heavily modeled after Mortal Kombat 9. You need to look no further than Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage has went back to his Mortal Kombat 9 archetype of being a pure rushdown character, right? So he has his old MK9 archetype. But more than that, he has all his old MK9 normals and strings. You know, his special moves have the same inputs that they had in MK9, starting with his nut punch. So, nut punch in MK9 was back down, forward punch. So, back down 1, right? That was always his input in MK9. Then in MKX and MK11, it was switched to back down 3, which makes no goddamn sense because it's a punch. Why is a punch move being assigned to a kick button? You know what I'm saying? In this game, it's been reverted to back down 1. So that's one thing. Also, Johnny Cage has his infamous dizzy knee, which is forward 3 from MK9. And, you know, he's always had this dizzy knee in every iteration of an NRS title. But in Mortal Kombat 11, his knee was dramatically slowed down to 14 frames, and it led to nothing. And the input was changed from forward 3 to forward 4. Now it's a mid again, and it's his knee. It even has the same frame data, well, same startup as it did in MK9, which is 9 frames. So they give him a 9 frame forward 3, just like he had in MK9. In addition to that, Johnny Cage's back 3 has came back from MK9. Back 3 is his axe kick, which, you know, that move right there that I use as a terrific anti-air. So back 3 is not only a tremendous anti-air, but it's a very nice combo extender that gives you extra height and does a nice chunk of damage, adding that to your combos. Also, Johnny Cage has plus frames again. So several of Johnny Cage's normals and strings are plus 3, plus 4, even plus 7 on block. That's something that he got from MK9, right? So this game is MK9 2.0. Now, you casual people out there that are just looking at aesthetics and gameplay and all that kind of stuff, or looking at the most basic elements of gameplay and aesthetics, some of y'all might think, oh, it's MK9 2.0, or, ew, no, this is Injustice 3, or something like that. It's like, ho, if you know frame data, you wouldn't even fix your face to say nothing like that. Okay? Now, how does all of this relate to cameos? So, MK9 obviously did not have cameos. In MK9, your character played one way. Well, they played the archetype that they were given. So, Johnny Cage was a rushdown character. And as a rushdown character, you knew how he was going to rush you down. You knew what normals he was going to use. And there wasn't much variation. Now, there were ways for you to distinguish your Johnny Cage versus other people's Cage. But point is, your character had one archetype. They were restricted to the moves that they were given. You know, whatever special moves they had, that's what they had. And if the special moves were bad, too bad, right? So, during the MKX era, NRS said, well, wait a minute. How about we give people a chance to play their characters their way? And so, the variation system was born. I've talked at length about the variation system of MKX and MK11. But I'll just sit here and say that the variation system, though fun, though it gave characters variety, it didn't work for the stated purpose that NRS set out, which was to allow people to take one character and fight the whole cast with them without being at tremendous disadvantage. You have to switch to another character. You know, in their combat cast, they basically said the idea behind the variation system was to stop players from having to need to switch to another character because they don't have the tools that they need to fight, you know, certain characters. That didn't happen. Okay? It didn't happen in MKX. It kind of didn't happen in MK11 either. But it did give you variety. So now no longer were you shackled to your default special moves. Now you had other moves at your disposal. And you could switch those moves out based on who you were fighting. And that was true in MKX and it was true in MK11, right? The only problem with both of those systems was that players would just pick the best moves. And your best moves would just be the ones that you picked no matter who you fought. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, if you played RoboCop at MK11, under no circumstances were you not going to equip the low gun. You're gonna equip it. It's his best projectile. It's a million times better than his high gun. There's just no reason to not have it. You know what I'm saying? Even with a character like Liu Kang. Liu Kang had low fireball in MK11 that you could equip. You're gonna equip it. You're just gonna do it, you know? Because you can duck the regular fireballs. And having that low fireball gives him something that forces the opponent to block, you know? And so in MK11 and MKX, you're just gonna equip the best moves overall and just play that. Ooh, see, that's the breaker glitch I was talking about. Y'all seen that shit? I had him in the corner. Look at what happens. So I have him in the corner. He breaks, and now I'm in the corner. That's not it. Anyway. In this game, it's tempting to believe that, hey, I'm just going to pick the best cameo and just use that all the time. But the reality is, that may not be feasible. Because there may be several best cameos depending on who you're fighting and what cameo they are using. So I'll use Sub-Zero as an example. Obviously, I use the Frost cameo, and that's what I'm rocking with right now, right? With the Frost cameo, Sub-Zero has access to 30 up to 36% meterless damage without a jump in mid-screen. And you can hit confirm, and this is off of his main mid, that you can hit confirm or not, right? And so that level of safety is absolutely vital. Also, and I didn't use this, but I saw Tweety use this in his stream or in his videos on YouTube. The Frost cameo gives Sub-Zero some very decrepit setups in the corner. Very, very degenerate corner setups. And once the game comes out, I am going to lab those setups. This setup is not possible with any other cameo but Frost. Right? So if you like to do set play in the corner, that's the cameo you pick. Now, let's say you don't care about decrepit corner setups. Let's say you want safe 50-50s with Sub-Zero. Well, how do you do that? Well, you pick Kano. Because with Kano cameo, you can make your overhead safe on block. When normally it's very, very unsafe. Full combo punish. Right? Also, you can combo off of your low string with Sub-Zero using Kano. Not just the low part of the low string. The whole string you can combo off of it with Kano. You can't do that with Frost. So if you want safe 50-50s and you want to be degenerate in that way, And these are safe 50/50s anywhere in the screen, by the way. So if you want that anywhere on the screen, then you pick Kano. You see what I'm saying? So the cameos provide different utility depending on what kind of player you are. And so they really do allow players to take one character and not have to necessarily come off of that character. Now, in the early day of the game, that's probably not going to happen. We're going to see people switching characters and stuff like that. But as people get better and they become adept at learning their character and learning how the cameos interact with that character, they're going to have a whole squad of favorite cameos to use with their main character. And those favorite cameos will help them fight various characters in the game. So cameos are very versatile. They are easily a way better version of the variation system that we were using or have been using for the past 2 titles. And they have the real legitimate chance of achieving the stated goal of the variation system, you know. Also, they're just really, really useful. You saw my matches with Johnny Cage. You saw that I was getting 37% damage with him mid-screen. I didn't spend any meter to do any of that. You've seen, as Sub-Zero, I'm consistently getting 35% meterless off of his advancing mid-string. And if, you know, the opponent blocks, I can either cancel into a clone or I can just block afterwards. Like this is the combo right here. Slide. Ho. 352. 353 if I round to the nearest 100th. Right? But that's very important. That's not something that he can do safely without meter otherwise. In order to get damage close to that, Sub-Zero would have to either spend meter or he would have to start with that unsafe overhead that would get him killed, right? And even then, with, you know, off of that dual overhead mid-screen, he ain't getting no damn 35%. Not meterlessly. He may get it with meter, but he ain't gonna get that meterlessly. It won't happen. You see what I'm saying? So cameos provide a lot of utility to your character. And if you're a casual person out there crying about how bad the cameo system is and all this, I need you to consider the fact that, you know, when you play this game, you don't need to use your cameos. Like, you can fight entire matches without pressing the cameo button. However, just based off of what I've been explaining for the past 5 minutes, understand that you would be a fool to not use the cameos just because you don't like them. I'm not saying you gotta like them. I'm not saying that you can't miss the classic 1 versus 1 MK experience, because I will. But I want to win. For those of us that actually want to win matches, anything that helps me win matches easier, I welcome it. You understand? And cameos do just that. Cameos give me the utility to decide, oh, do I want to spend meter? Do I need to spend meter or nah? And in a lot of instances, instead of spending meter, I can just spend the cameo bar and get a higher damage combo that requires less resources. The less resources you use to do damage to the opponent, the better. And I don't blame you if you don't know that, but I'm telling you that. As somebody that knows how to play these games and has played these games for over a decade now at a fairly proficient level, I'm telling you, meterless high damage combos are a huge advantage to a character. Absolutely huge. Okay? High damage that you don't have to spend resources to get, and they come off of safe mid strings. Psst, that's worth its weight in gold, and Sub-Zero has that. And that's the combo you see there. Notice also he puts the opponent in the corner off of this. So there's that. So what am I trying to say? Cameos are absolutely fantastic. They're fantastic. Fuck the narrative, fuck the hype, fuck the naysayers. I'm telling you, cameos are the shit. And anyone running around saying that cameos are bad or that they shouldn't exist or all that, you probably suck at the game. I'ma just keep it a buck with you. You're probably not very good at Mortal Kombat. You probably don't see the utility that they have. You don't fully see the utility. Because some people can acknowledge that they're useful, but they still don't want them around. And it's like, if you don't want cameos to be in this game, then obviously you don't see their full utility. Because I just explained to you that cameos give Sub-Zero and Johnny Cage abilities to do things that they normally could not do. Things that are very useful for them to do. If you don't want that for your character, you bucking. You're probably not very good at the game. And that's okay, because we're all striving to improve and get better. But I'm just saying, you're probably not very good at the game, and therefore you are not in a privileged position to make any claims about a game because you don't know shit about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like those dudes that want to make women's legislation, but they don't understand how a woman's body works. They don't know what it means for a woman to be on her cycle. They don't know anything about pregnancy or about how babies get here. You know, you shouldn't be saying shit. You shouldn't be in charge of any decision-making patterns. Even your opinion is just trash because it's completely uninformed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's an objective reality in this world that we all have to abide by, whether you like it or not. So you might as well learn to embrace that shit. Anyway, so yeah, cameos are phenomenal. They're very useful, and they're here to stay for at least the duration of this game, if not for the next couple games. MK12's probably going to have a cameo system. I said MK12. MK13 is probably going to have a cameo system. So you might as well get used to this shit. Yeah. So anyway, even beyond the cameos, let's talk about the actual characteristics of this game. Starting with the aesthetics. This game looks fucking phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. You're not going to be able to tell on YouTube because YouTube compresses video quality, plus the game's in 1080p, which on PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, it's going to be playing at 4K. Okay? And when you see the game in action, and you see how vibrant the colors are, and you see all the details of all the strands of hair and the shaved facial hair and the cloth textures and the metal textures and all the effects of the various moves on screen and stuff like that. This game looks phenomenal. And games graphics have gotten so good that they actually look bad on stream and in videos. Like, the graphics are so good you have to experience them in person in order to get the whole breadth of, you know, how good they look. Otherwise you won't get a full sense of it, you know what I'm saying? So the game's graphics look phenomenal. Okay, the effects are amazing. This is especially true of the stages. We only had 2 stages, but they had day and night, and them stages look phenomenal. I can't wait to play on the rest of the stages in this game. I haven't seen a bad stage yet. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to just playing on these various locations. The women look absolutely gorgeous. All of them, including the black one that everyone's bitching about. So yeah, there's that. The gameplay. I don't know how many ways I can keep saying this, but this game is Mortal Kombat 9 reincarnated. We have MK9 dash blocking. We have MK9 anti-airs. We have MK9 meter, MK9 breakers. Okay. We have MK9 walk speeds, forwards and backwards. The walk speeds are phenomenal, which is really good for positioning yourself. We have MK9 ranges of strings and normals, because one very important thing about MK11 that all the casuals seem to ignore is that characters commanded a lot of screen with their normals. So many characters had strings that extended to sweep distance and beyond. We don't have that in this game too much. Characters' ranges are way shorter, way shorter. So that means they have to get closer to each other in order to do damage. And that's great, because what that means is, in order for you to get closer, now you gotta use your movement. What else did this game borrow from MK9? You have the MK9 tag system, which we call cameos now. That was lifted from the tag combos of MK9. You know what I'm saying? You have the MK9 bright color palette, because MK9 was bright and vibrant. This game is the same thing. You know what I'm saying? What else? We have the modes of MK9. That I can't even think of the name of the mode. That little quasi conquest board game mode that MK9 has. That ain't nothing but the MK9 character towers. That's all that they are. The 300 tower that MK9 had, MK1 turned it into a conquest style board game, right? And that includes Test Your Might, which was brought back during MK9. Okay? Even the computers are better like they were in MK9, because MK9, the computers are very hard. They actually weren't that hard. You could beat their ass, especially once you learned how to play the game and do combos and whiff punish and anti-air and all that shit. You know, the computers were very easy to beat, and it's the same thing in this game. Now, I'm hoping that they stay at this level and that this is not like modified in the release of the game, but you know, for the purposes of the beta, the computers on very hard are relatively easy to beat, at least at first. Once you go higher up on that ladder, once you get to like fight 5, that's when they start cheating and input reading and shit and you know, all that. But even still, the computer is much improved, sort of in the style of MK9. This game is a love letter to Mortal Kombat 9. It plays very similarly to MK9, not MK11. Now, does that mean it doesn't play like MK11 at all? No, it is similar to MK11 for sure. Like, it's deliberate like MK11 was. The strings, you know, sort of animate slowly like they did in MK11, but it's like that for a reason, so that you can hit confirm them. You know what I'm saying? You want the strings to be very deliberate so that you can tell whether they hit or not before you commit to doing something unsafe. You know what I'm saying? So I much prefer that. I much prefer that for this game. This game is very much MK9 2.0 mixed in with the best elements of MKX and MK11. It has the MKX combo freedom and combo routes along with dialogue and stuff like that. And then it has the fatal blows and pacing and you know, attention to spacing and neutral that MK11 had. Okay, so anyone sitting here trying to tell you that this game is like MK11, they bugging, they capping, they lying, or they're just dumb and don't know how to play the game. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you not being that good at MK, right? But if you're not that good at Mortal Kombat, then people should take your opinion with a huge grain of salt. You don't have the knowledge and the gravitas to speak authoritatively about Mortal Kombat because you're not very good at it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like somebody trying to tell you how hard a math class is, but they can't multiply without a calculator. Of course, a math class is going to be hard for you because you need a calculator to multiply. You don't know your times tables. You can't tell me what 7 times 8 is. You got to stammer and stutter and think and all this type of shit just to do some simple times tables. So every math class is going to be hard to you, regardless of whether that class is actually challenging or not. You know what I'm saying? That's what these people are. That's what they look like talking about. MK1 is MK11 2.0. MK1 is Injustice 3.0. Bitch, no. No, 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 no. Stop. Stop the fucking madness. Okay? You're not that good at these games. You know. Y'all ain't even got your gameplay visible on YouTube. And even a lot of the people making the comments on YouTube, when I go and look at their pages to see what kind of videos they have, they ain't got none. And so I'm like, so you're making these uneducated comments and opinions, and I can't even look at your gameplay to evaluate whether your opinion's worth a damn or not, because you ain't got no gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. I put it to you like this. Just like we don't trust the medical opinion of people that didn't go to medical school, we shouldn't trust the Mortal Kombat opinion of people that don't know how to play Mortal Kombat very well. And it's not about whether you can perform special moves and do combos and stuff. It's about, you know, what kind of gameplay do you exhibit in your matches? Do you bait? Do you punish? Full combo punish? Do you anti-air? Do you outspace your opponent? If you don't do those things, you don't get to talk about this game. You can have an opinion, sure, but your opinion is just going to be relegated to garbage because that's what it will be. You know, sorry, not sorry. All right. So anyway, let's get back to MK1 and what all I like about it. So gameplay is phenomenal. Cameos are fantastic. Colors, graphics, all that shit is phenomenal. Characters. All the characters look strong, man. All of them. All of them. And they play differently, too. Now, in this beta, I only played Sub-Zero and Johnny Cage, because those were the only two I was interested in. But I will tell you, I'm interested in about 10 other characters for this game. And I'll be playing them all. Just like I did in MK11. And Johnny Cage and Sub-Zero couldn't be more different. You know what I'm saying? Like, them two are very different, but they're both strong, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're real strong. Once they get in their bag, they'll fuck your ass up. You know. And I will say this now. One thing I really enjoy about the characters in this game is that they all appear to be strong somewhere. You know, if you play Sub-Zero the way he's designed to be played, he will seem insurmountable. If you play Johnny Cage the way he was designed to be played, he will seem insurmountable. And that leads me into the next thing that I'm going to say about this game that I really enjoy, is that this game is not scrub friendly. This game is for the people like me and the people above me, the ones that lab setups, the ones that know frame data, the ones that lab combos and all this. This game is not for the children. Now, let's not get it twisted. Can casuals get in and play this game and have a fun time? Hell yeah, of course they can. Yeah. And, you know, they have one button access to certain special moves. So in that sense, yeah, it's very casual friendly because Mortal Kombat is always casual friendly, right? But what I'm saying is, if you're the kind of person that, you know, they immediately hop from practice mode to online, and they only spend a couple moments in practice, or even worse yet, they don't go to practice at all. They pick a character, be like, ooh, I like these special moves. Ooh, I like these strings. You know, let me look up some combos real quick. If you're that type of person that looks up combos and then goes online and stuff like that, you finna get mopped. I'm telling you that right now. Because movement is super important. Spacing is super important. Anti-airing is super important. Knowing how to use your cameo with your character is super important. If you don't know all of those things, if you don't know your frame data, if you don't know what strings have gaps in them, if you don't know all these various aspects, you know, that I'm naming, and even those that I'm not naming, you finna get folded like a motherfucker. You finna get folded like laundry. I promise you that, boo-boo. You finna get folded. This leads me to my next thing that I love about this game. It is so easy to anti-air people in this game. Like, in Mortal Kombat 11, I had to work, you know, at my anti-air game for years. You know, I didn't start really plucking people out the sky until like the last year and a half of playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Before that, I might be able to anti-air, but I wasn't consistently good at it. And I'm still not going to sit there and say I'm good at anti-airing in MK11. But I will say that I've improved tremendously, right? From where I was. It's not as easy to jump in on me in that game. In this game, you do not want to jump at people because you'll just fucking die. Especially if you jump at somebody like me. I don't know if y'all saw my my set against Wallace. That was my first set ever playing against a human being in this game. I must have plucked him out the air about 20 times. Possibly more than that. You know what I'm saying? I plucked that boy out the sky a lot. A lot. Okay? And that's only after 3 days of playing this beta. And so I can only imagine how often I'm going to be anti-airing more people online in this game when I play online against people. You know what I'm saying? I think I said that twice, my bad. But yeah, anti-airs are so important. And they're so easy to get because the jumps are floaty as hell. Like, it takes forever to jump at somebody and get back to the ground. And that's phenomenal. Fantastic, I would say. Because here's the thing. Jumping should always be an option in fighting games, obviously. And, you know, they should always be viable. But in just about every version of Mortal Kombat so far, jumps have gotten so goddamn strong. They've become too good of an option. You know, it got to the point in MK1 where you could get to a place where you knew your opponent was going to jump. And depending on who you were, you couldn't do shit. That's not the case in this game. Look at that. Now, I read that Cage would jump. I'm like, please, I hope your ass leaps in this air. But in my set against Wallace, half the time I didn't know he was going to jump. I just was like, oh shit, he's in the air. Pluck. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Because jumping should be viable, but it should also be risky. And in every other damn game, it's risky to leap at people. Not every other game. Some games have air dashes. Some games have air combos and air combat and all that kind of stuff, you know. So jumping's not universally weak in most games. But in a lot of the fighting games that people consider to be heavy neutral base and footsie based, jumping is risky as hell. Like, a huge part of, you know, the game is making your opponent feel like they have to jump and then punishing them for doing it. You know what I'm saying? And this game really allows for that. And I so appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I could have plucked him right there if I wasn't poking. And what's dope about Cage is with this variation of Sonya, I can get 300 damage off of a damn anti-air. That was not possible in MK1. That hasn't been possible in any game, really. Off of an anti-air, 30% of your health. Ooh. So, yeah, 300.5. That's scary. That's good shit. So I wish a motherfucker would jump at me in this damn game. They'll die. They'll just die. So I'm warning y'all. If y'all run into me, the fifth derivative, online, I'm warning you, don't jump at me. Not if you want to live. You know, even though Katana just jumped at me and got a successful jumping kick, that's because I jabbed. If I'd have did back three, her ass would have been dead. And once I learned how to up block people consistently, y'all gonna be real dead for jumping. And so that's something I really enjoy about MK1. So, yeah, man. So, what are my overall thoughts about the beta? I think you already know. I think the beta is phenomenal, dude. I think the Mortal Kombat 1 beta is indicative of a game that I'm going to be sinking thousands of hours into, not because I have to, but because I want to and I feel that I need to. You know what I'm saying? Right now it's August 26th as of the date I'm recording this video. Mortal Kombat 1 comes out within the next 19 days or so. So for these 19 days or whatever, I'm gonna be struggling. I'm gonna be suffering. I'm gonna be watching a bunch of videos. I'm gonna watch my videos. I'm gonna be watching this video when it's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be, looking at all the MK1 stuff that I can to try to get my fix until I can play the game. Because there's so many things I want to lab, so many things I want to learn, so many things that I got to test and got to play in order to learn, in order to improve and stuff like that. No other Mortal Kombat game has been this deep before. None of them. Not even MK9. And so, this might be the game that supplants the game. Because I'm a Mortal Kombat 9 guy. I think that's the best NRS title and the best Mortal Kombat of all time so far. But this could be the game that finally supplants it for me. And that's a big statement. This game has so much good shit to it. All the things that I named. And I'm probably gonna watch this video and then think of something else that I neglected to talk about. But even the fatal blows having an Injustice style animation, that's fantastic, because it means they can't random you out. You know what I'm saying? That means that when you get hit with a fatal blow, you actually kind of deserved it based on what you was doing or not doing. You know what I mean? That's a good thing about this game. The story mode looks very intriguing, and I hope, just based on the first chapter that has been released, that the rest of the story is this cogent, this emotional, and engaging. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen it, I would go and watch that first chapter, because it's real dope. But all in all, Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be really good. I don't give a damn what a disgruntled YouTuber has to say. I don't give a damn what a pissed off ass Facebook commenter has to say. I don't give a damn what a Twitter troll or, a Redditor has to say that's just whining about any old dubious quality of the game. I'm telling you, Mortal Kombat 1 is about to be the very best Mortal Kombat game that's ever come out. The only thing that can stop that from happening is NRS. And it doesn't look like they're in the business of letting that happen. They seem much more engaged than they were with MK11. They seem like they're going to support the game for longer. And that's going to be a key component here, is how long will NRS support this title. If they support it for years and years, and by years I mean 3+ years, if they do that with this game and address the concerns of the community and the biggest issues the way that they've been doing, This game about to be the best one. Mark my motherfucking words on that. You understand? So, if you made it this far through the video, I appreciate you watching. Feel free to share this video in the comment sections of various various Mortal Kombat groups that are all talking greasy about this game. Put my video there for them. Not that they're gonna watch it, but you know, just so that they can hear the perspective of someone that knows what the hell they're doing talk about this game. I don't claim to be a pro. I know I'm not a pro, but I'm damn sure not a rookie. See, there go the glitch I was talking about. But that's okay though. Even with that glitch, this game's still gonna be damn good. You dig? But anyway, that's been another of your boy Bowie's ramblings over here. I'll catch y'all later. One.